podcast with you, sir. To have you here. Before starting the podcast, I just wanted to ask you.
Call me Pradyot. I think
Okay.
parents gave me a good name. Pradyot is a good name.
Correct, correct. So, and
Local indigenous language, it means the owner of the land, the protector of the land. In Khasis you have saints. So we have a traditional way of referring to our heads. But you can call me Pradyot. I think Pradyot is a good enough name. Parents did a lot of research before naming me Pradyot. So, and when you call me Maharaja, it looks like I have a moustache, I have a turban, and I've come here in an elephant. So, only people who dress up.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My question is to Mr. James. Sir, namaste, first of all, and welcome to Karnataka. And when you hear United Northeast and United India, what does it mean to you personally? And how do you think this kind of unity help us to grow in a social and economic way?
Thank you so much. First of all, I just like to place on record that I'm deeply honored to be part of this program, and I'm truly impressed with this really impressive gathering. So thank you to everyone who's attending this program. A big hand of applause to all of you and to the organizers, of course. Parliament. So we spent our entire childhood in Delhi, and growing up in Delhi was a very leaves a very strong impression on you, because we were very small. Then when you come of age, then you realize, well, everyone looks at you different, everyone treats you very differently. So for me, when you ask me on a very personal note, when you grow up in that kind of an environment, you just realize that we as Northeasterners today, I'm not here, as everyone is mentioning, as from a particular tribe or a state. You come to realize that we as Northeasterners, we need to have that kind of unity. And that unity is very visible and tangible today. I mean, look at the gathering today, and you see the kind of difference that's taking place in the country because of the fact that the Northeast is very united. There is this one voice that's emerging now, and you see the attitude and the change in the kind of way people perceive you. So I think that that's very important from that point of view, from a very personal note. So yeah.
Thank you, sir. Actually, unity can be seen here, but we expected it's more than that. And next question is for both of you. If you can point out one thing, it may be cultural, emotional or developmental, which could become heart of unity within the Northeast or between the Northeast and other parts of India, and why? What are the reasons according to you both?
See, first of all, let's put this entire conversation in context. Northeast, when we say United Northeast, we do not want the Khasis to lose their identity. We don't want the Meiteis to lose their identity. We don't want the Nagas to lose their identity. We want all of us. We don't want the Tiprasas to lose their identity or the Dimasas. There are different communities, different states. You saw a lovely Khasi performance. You'll see a Tripuri performance. You'll see a Naga performance. Amongst Nagas, there are Aos, there are Tangkuls, there are Angamis. There are different cultures, and the most important thing is we don't want to melt. We don't want to become a melting pot. We want to be like a salad bowl. The difference between a melting pot is that you lose your identity and you become one. But a salad bowl is something where you have a lettuce, you have a tomato, you have a cucumber, you have onions, you have jerky, whatever. But then when you mix it up, every fruit or every vegetable tastes unique, and yet together they taste wonderful. So we want to be the salad bowl of Northeast, not a melting pot. So to make it very clear, we are very conscious that if Northeast has to flourish, every community should be given their due respect. Second thing, when you talk about unity, We are in Bangalore today. I know who's a Khasi, who's a Garo, who's a Tiprasa, who's a Maitei, who's a Naga, who's a Dimasa or a Bodo. But to many people, we are looked as from Northeast. And what happens is that when we go back to our Northeast, we become divided. But here, because we are seen as one, we are sometimes, not all, but sometimes targeted as Northeasterners. Sometimes we are understood as, oh, this is a Northeast person working, or their food is smelly, or they look different from us. So what happens is we become one because we are identified as one. But when we go back, our political leaders will speak the same thing, but in different platforms. So the main question is, has this worked in 75 years? It has not. So if we need to speak up for our people, our students, our younger generation, we need to also realize that yes, there are 10 similarities, there are 2 differences. Let us keep our differences aside and let us focus on our 10 similarities and try to bring solution. If you focus on differences, you will never be able to solve a problem. But if you look at our similarities, whether it is Bangladesh, whether it is China, whatever neighboring countries, whether we are looked as different or we are considered unique, we need to focus on our issues where we can solve our problem. Why does people from Northeast, whether they are from Assam, or they are from Tripura, Mizoram, Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, they need to come to Karnataka or go to Delhi or to Hyderabad to pursue their education? Why haven't our leaders ensured that there is a campus for Northeasterners within Karnataka, within our own states? So that is because we have never negotiated with the government of India from a position of strength. And that's why unified Northeast is important. Coming back to your second question about India. Well, India was not created overnight. India was negotiated with. The Constitution of India was debated by the Constituent Assembly. And when we negotiated with India to create the idea of India, it was supposed to be equal representation. Today I am in south of India, and even south of India says, why should we be paying the price because our population is less? Why should, when South India contributes, Maharashtra contributes, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh contributes so much for the national exchequer, yet when you do delimitation, because the population is less, you are given less seats in the parliament. So even now you are negotiating, but with your population, look at our population. We are 1/5 of whatever you have. And if you are going to reward population and not identity, the idea of India will be defeated, which was enshrined in the Constitution of India. So, like you are negotiating with the government of India, being proud Indians, about your identity, your culture, and the idea of India, we too want to do the same thing. And that's why we are negotiating and we are talking from a position of unity. Somebody may call it Ekjoda, somebody may call it Thansa, somebody may call it something else. But the point is that we need to speak in one voice, because if we don't, we will not be relevant in the national scheme of things.
So true, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, we want to hear your perspective about it.
I completely agree with what Mr. Pradyut, my brother, has mentioned just now. And of course, unity and diversity is a very contradictory term. But nonetheless, there is, as Mr. Pradyut mentioned, an opportunity for all of us to come together. And I think that's happening. And he beautifully, I think, described it in the analogy of the salad bowl. So I don't have anything to add. It was very comprehensive, and I'm completely in support.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So next question again for both of you. What role do you feel public figures needs to play to nurture stronger sense of togetherness within the region and across India?
I think that one of the things that we often find, and of course Mr. Pradip can add to that, is speaking up. So I mean, in my course of going around, interacting with a lot of people, attending seminars, attending a lot of various programs, conferences, I realized that our people, Northeasterners, are very shy to express themselves. I think that's something we need to change. We need to articulate what we want, what we feel, more importantly. And that's not happening. And until and unless we stand up and we speak up, I don't think anyone's going to take notice. So my brothers and my sisters who are here, I would like to reach out to them that it's not just about political leaders, but it's about each and every one of us. It's our responsibility. You have been sent by your parents. You are, pursuing your aspirations. I think you are the future leaders of the region, of the Northeast. So let us all speak up. Don't feel, second. Don't feel inferior. Have the confidence. Just say what needs to be said. I think that's, for me, one of my most important observations. But I think Brother Pradip can add something.
Yes, sir.
So I'll give you a personal experience. Khasis here. Are any Khasis here? Yes?
Many? Yeah.
So when I grew up in Shillong in the 90s and the early 2000s, in Tripura there was, amongst the indigenous people, there was a perception because of so much of Bangladeshis walking into our state, they had put us down. We were hesitant in speaking out for our rights. Then when I was in Shillong, I saw my Khasi brothers and sisters fight for their rights. There's a word called Jai Bin Ryo, right? And I saw my friends in colleges and in my school speak out and fight for their rights. And that inspired me to go back to Tripura and fight for my people. Now, the most important thing for a leader is first to have personal integrity. Second, leaders from outside will come and try to purchase you. They will try to mentally tell you that you are not good enough. They know more than you. They know what is right, what is wrong. But if you in your heart know that fighting for your community, your people, is the most important thing, it makes no difference who the leader is from Delhi, you will stand your ground. So, when we do that, you inspire youngsters. Because they are looking at the leader, am I going to be a leader who will be waiting in an airport to receive some leader who comes from Haryana? No. Because they are not going to wait for me in Delhi airport when I come from Tripura or I go from Guwahati. So, why should we do the same? So, a leader should be able to keep the respect of their people. Purno Sangma was one example. I think that इज्जत देने से इज्जत मिलता है. If they don't give us respect, then don't expect respect from my side. Yes. So it's a two-way street. We respect them, we respect their culture, but many things these people don't know about who we are, what we eat, what we dress, what our sentiments are. So till the time they don't get it, well, you're not going to get any free lunches. So I think the leaders need to realize, it hurts me when leaders come from Delhi and our women are dancing, we are giving them shawl, we are giving them... When is the last time I went to Delhi or I went to Rajasthan and their women were dancing in front of me and they were giving us shawls? No. So we should not give them any free lunches. If you want to give us respect, if you want respect from us, you have to give us respect. And yes, personal integrity is very important. Because if you are inherently weak, corrupt, then what will happen is, they will take this advantage, send ED, send CBI, try to intimidate you, say you will go to jail. The moment they know you have a weakness, they will take advantage. So personal integrity and moral character has to be very strong. And it is not very difficult because we don't need so much money, but what we need is respect, and we need to ensure that our people get what they want. Our people have suffered for too long. And if we want our people to prosper, if we want our next generation to prosper, the road today may be more difficult, but tomorrow our next generation will be much more successful.
So we need strong role models like you, sir.
Not role models, you need strong people. You know, I'll tell you, money is not everything in life. You look at Nepal, the Gen Z. In Nepal, the Gen Z got together, in 2 days the Prime Minister and the President of Nepal had to run away. Did the Gen Z have money? No. But they had courage. So courage comes from being on the right side and being truthful. But the day you become corrupt, you will not have the strength to speak out. So it's not role model. The idea is inspiration, courage and integrity. Role models will come and go, but your moral character has to be the same.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. He said many things. It's all in whose hands? Your hands, right? Yeah. Sir, next question is to you only. Even with all the progress we have made, many people from Northeast still feel misunderstood by in other parts of India. And in your opinion, what went wrong in the past and what's still going wrong, and how can we change this?
See, I think again, you know, why only people from Northeast? People from South India. I mean, South India's different states, different languages, great history. Karnataka people, Telugu people, Tamil people, Malayali people, they are different cultures. But there was a time when everybody was Madrasi. That's the way people looked at the whole of thing. But you all fought for your identity, right? So now, when I say that respect is a two-way street, it is not only for us to explain who we are, it is for the other people to learn about us. Now when I go, you are all students here, most of you are students. I open a textbook, I know who Rani Ki Jhansi is, I know where the Mughals came from, we know about Nehru, we know about Savarkar, we know about all these things. When is the last time you picked up a textbook and read about the Battle of Saraighat? When is it that you spoke about Raiksom Raisa? When is the last time you spoke about Tirot Singh, Tikendrajit? So, why is our history not taught in national school books?
Exactly.
So, is it only our job to learn about the rest of India? And isn't it the job of the rest of India also to learn about our region? So, if the government of India, whoever it is, whether it is the Congress or the BJP, it is not a matter of importance. The government of India should ensure that the rest of India knows about Northeast. We are part of India. So, if they do not include that, I meet people, they say, "Arey Momo, oh play guitar." Arey, why should I play guitar, yeah? Do you know polo was invented in Manipur? Do you know Khasis invented pottery far before most of the people did in the rest of India? The idea of gunpowder originally came from the Assamese kingdom. They say Babur bought it. We have some of the best customs, cultures, but nobody speaks about it. Every time we are equated with Momo. Arey, what is Momo, yeah? So, I don't like it when they make, and that happens because you have not educated. You have not educated your younger generation to know about another part of India. So, the government of India has to do so, and we, as one Northeast, whatever we are trying to come out with, we should come out with a clear policy on inclusion of our history, our culture, our languages, our identity in national curriculum. I am seeing here the Khasis wearing their traditional dress. I am seeing the Garos wearing their traditional dress. I see some Maitais with their panek. I see our Naga president, she's out, she's wearing a traditional dress. This should be put in the national curriculum. Why should we? Of course we should learn about Bharatnatyam. Of course we should learn about what is happening in North India, Rajasthan, but we should also learn about another part of India. And I think that is the most important thing.
So true, sir. I totally
Anything
agree
wrong?
with
Have I
you.
said anything wrong?
I just like to just add a little bit what Brother Pradeep just mentioned. I mean, I can understand you're from Karnataka, right? And you feel the kind of angst, the kind of anger that is there in him. Now you have to understand that why is there this feeling in our system, and I think it's a very positive thing. If we were to be like, oh, we don't care, we're not Indians, then it's a damn care attitude. We don't care about India. But the anger and the angst is a reflection of the fact that we're very proud to be Indians. Yet, why doesn't India give that kind of due recognition to our region, to our people, and recognize us for the contributions also to this great nation? Be it in the field of sports, be it in the field of, as mentioned by Mr. Pradeep, in the field of culture. So many contributions have been made, by our people from the Northeast to this great country, and yet we are looked at differently. So that kind of anger and the angst comes from that. And please do pardon us for this kind of outburst, because I think it's a positive thing that this outburst is a reflection that we are very proud to be Indians, as our root, as our foundation.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yes, sure.
Supplementing what? When you call our people chinky or Chinese aunties, or when you say soya bean or whatever, soya sauce, right? Or you're saying Chinese people, is it fair? How would somebody feel if I went to Delhi and said Pakistani? No, how would they feel? They will feel repulsed. So we are also saying we are Indians. We are not saying that we are not. And anyway, nobody wants to go to Pakistan, but China is a developing economy. Yeah? So, itna bhi mat utsaho कि many of our people will say, okay, fine, we are Chinese, then you have a bigger problem.
Reaction will be
Now, you see, another thing, James, I think we should talk to Conrad and also speak. Jana Gana Mana, right? National anthem. Punjab, Sindh. Sindh is in Pakistan. You got Pakistan in the national anthem. Include a word called Northeast. I mean, include something about Northeast, maybe Brahmaputra, whatever. Include a part of a region in your national anthem. We feel that we have been accepting us. Now, that is one thing I think we should also say. I mean, nothing is perpetual and nothing is fixed. You should try to incorporate parts of Northeast in your national song so that we feel we are a part of the larger great Indian nation. And we are patriotic people, but treat people with a certain amount of respect and not ignorance. That's what I'm saying.
So we have so many untold stories, right? So we want to know one untold story from your land, जो आप सबको बताना चाहते हैं, जो आज तक हमने नहीं सुना है. So starting with you, sir. Any untold story?
Untold story. Do you mean in terms of culture? In terms
Anything, sir. Culture, politics, anything.
Fine. I'm here as a Northeasterner first, of course, today, but since Kakuli has asked me for an untold story, well, we just celebrated our harvest festival, that is the Wangala. And, so I'm very happy that, we had our harvest festival. So part of our culture, we are a matrilineal society, I think one of the very few remaining matrilineal societies in the world. And I'm very proud to come from a matrilineal society where when I get married, I go to my wife's house. So my children take my wife's surname. So I think that it is something that really makes our Garo women empowered and feel very, very strong and powerful.
Yesterday I was explaining her that.
Yes.
That we follow this tradition.
Yeah. And our boys get kidnapped. So this is part of our tradition. That you know, if a woman likes a boy, suppose I was to be liked by someone, which happens very often, then you know her uncles, maternal uncles, would all gang up and pick me up and kidnap me till I get married to their niece. So that used to happen in the past, but thankfully not nowadays.
Like in India, there is no like तू जानता मेरा बाप का नाम कौन है क्या है? यहाँ में तू जानता मेरा माँ का नाम क्या है? But see again, there are two things. One, historically, the people of Tripura, we never lost. We fiercely fought against the Mughals. We lost, we came back. We won. We lost, we came back. We won. But we never surrendered. When the British came, my great-grandfather wanted to make a hospital. And when he started constructing the hospital for the people of Tripura, 1980-98, the British suddenly said, you cannot construct a hospital because if you construct a hospital, nobody will come for treatment in Bengal. So my grandfather said, if I resist the British, they may attack us. But if I say, okay, then I will look bad in front of my people. So then this indigenous Maharaja of Tripura wrote a letter to the British saying, if you want me to stop the hospital, I'll do it. But what will I tell your queen, because we had named it Queen Victoria Hospital. So the British got scared, oh my God, so carry on. So that was diplomacy then. Now second thing, talking about unity, right? Because our agenda here is unity. Do you know that my great-great-grandfather's wife was from Manipur, she was a Maitai. Then my great-great-grandfather's best friend was a king from Jaintiapur, which is right now in Bangladesh. But the Jaintia king and the Tripuri king fought together and defeated the Mughals and the Nawab of Bengal in Bangladesh. So that is again friendship, and then we married amongst each other. Then you fast forward now. In the olden days, alliances were made through marriages. And I think what happened was, today in our family, everybody, we follow not only Tiprasa custom, we follow Manipuri custom. Some of my best friends are Nagas, so if I have a guest coming from outside, I will give them our Tripuri food, I'll give them our Manipuri food, I'll also give them Naga pork and bamboo shoot. So I think the Tripura people have accepted all communities. We have Garos recognized as a tribe. We have a school named after Tirot Singh. We have accepted Mizos. We have accepted all communities, and I think that is the unique thing about Tripura. We have accepted people who have been displaced from Bangladesh, our own Chakmas. We consider Chakmas our own brothers and sisters. So we have Dimasas and Tiprasas. Again, we are brothers. Boros and Tiprasas, we are brothers. So I think in Tripura we have accepted all communities and intermarried, and we've actually ensured that the real spirit of unity happens. So yes, we are not kidnapped by women from another community, but we kidnap women from another community and we bring them to our state. And final point, the first selfie ever taken is between my great-great-grandfather and his wife, who happens to be a Manipuri. And if you see that selfie, it was taken 145 years ago. And so these are small things. That means we were not backward people. We had full access and we were intermarrying and we were spreading our culture everywhere.
यहाँ पे मैं थोड़ा इंटरप्ट करना चाहूँगी। सबको शायद पता है कि सर के अंदर एक कीड़ा है, बॉलीवुड का कीड़ा, I know that's आप अमिताभ बच्चन जी के बहुत बड़े फैन हैं, आप शत्रुघ्न सिन्हा जी के फैन हैं, तो कुछ अगर हो जाए तो
You just wanted that. No, but you don't know, na? I'm also a Sunny Deol fan.
Oh wow, I'm your
Baba? No. See, मैं आपको कहानी भी बताता हूँ क्योंकि क्यों मैं मिमिक्री में मैं आया। जब मैंने शिलोंग में अपनी शिक्षा प्राप्त की थी, तो उस समय because most of my friends were Khasis, तो इधर से आया उधर जाएगा इटू करके, so my Hindi was not good. Then I joined Congress, so Hindi सीखना पड़ा। अच्छा है, you should learn the language. So I started watching Hindi movies, and my first role model was Dharmendra. So I use this mimicry in a political context. So I'll give you an example. मैंने अपने एक स्पीच में बोला कि जब मैं अपने कम्युनिटी के बारे में बात करता हूँ तो लोग बोलते हैं कम्युनल. If I speak about my community, people call me communal. लेकिन अगर शत्रुघ्न सिन्हा, मैं बिहार का बाबू हूँ, बिहार एक बाबू. Now you see, Shatrughan Sinha is calling himself Bihar ek Babu. He is talking about his community. Nobody calls him communal. When Dharmendra, Baba, Dharmendra is Baba. Baba, tu bhi kuch bolo, Baba. So when Dharmendra says, मैं जेठ यमला पगला दीवाना हूँ. Now please understand. When I say I'm a Tiprasa, they say communal. When Dharmendra says, मैं जाट हूँ, nobody says he's talking about his community. When Daniel Lankasa says Dimasa, they say, why are you talking about Dimasa? Right? Now, the greatest actor, I mean, before Shah Rukh Khan, is Amitabh Bachchan. Have you noticed what Amitabh Bachchan says? So I say this in my political speeches. Amitabh Bachchan says, hey, मैं छोड़ा गंगा के दीवाना हूँ. मैं इलाहाबाद से है, इलाहाबाद से. Amitabh Bachchan is talking about Uttar Pradesh. He is talking about his state, his community, छोड़ा गंगा किनारे वाला. Why can't you say ब्रह्मपुत्र से आप आए? ठीक है. When Amitabh Bachchan says it, nobody calls him. क्यों community के बारे में बात कर रहा है? तो why shall I not say I am proud to be a Tiprasa or a Northeastern? So I use this mimicry not only to make people laugh, but to also make sure that what I am saying goes into the heart of the people. And that's
deep,
what,
sir.
So when you say it with anger, it does not get so much of traction. But when you say it with a bit of humor, it remains with you. Don't you think so? That's a better way of making a point across to everyone. So yeah, so my mimicry also has an agenda. And slowly I will pick up some of the newer actors also.
Please, Shah Rukh Khan को
But yes, it is important to smile also, to enjoy also. We can't become all boring people, but very important to also put your point across.
For past few minutes, I totally forgot I'm in a podcast with a king. That's also famous king. I was thinking
Madam, my elephant is waiting outside, madam.
It was really good service. I mean, I have seen your podcast. I have heard your mimicries too. But this was live performance. You made our day, right?
We have a lot of local Northeast accents also. Yeah, we have a lot of so we know when a person from Northeast speaks. You should hear Daniel Lankasa speak the Dimasa Hindi. It is something unique. You should hear my friend Murumo Kikon when he speaks in Naga. We will never accept, okay? So you know the Naga accent is there. We have Arunachal ka Hindi. No, kaisa hai? Acha hai na? then of course among the Khasis we are, ooh, that's Danda. So we have different accents. I feel very bad, no, I feel very bad. So, but again, we are not making fun of anyone. We are just, again, enjoying how we communicate, and we know. And even Asnis has a very unique accent. We'll have Silis again and Sound later.
Series again.
And Sound. And from Zorhat.
From Jorhat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for making us laugh. And you both have done a lots of works to for your region's welfare and visibility. And could you please share some of the works which are done by you personally and professionally, so that others can also get inspired by that?
In my previous term as I was holding a portfolio of health and family welfare in the government of Meghalaya. So as a minister, we looked at how mental health issues is something that's not being talked about enough, and also affecting so many people. I mean, everyone goes through it. I have gone through it. I'm sure many of you are probably going through it or have gone through it. Depression being the most simplest form of mental health issues. So I'm very proud of the fact that Meghalaya is the third state in the country after Kerala and Tamil Nadu to have a mental health policy. And I'm also very happy that I didn't just sit back and oversaw the drafting, but I was personally very involved in it. So I'm that way very happy and proud that Meghalaya or the Northeast is taking these kind of progressive steps in these kind of matters. So yes, that's one.
Thank you so much, sir.
I think some of the most important things was ensuring that we gave our students scholarship. We really, I think we need to create more IS officers, more officers in the government department from our own communities. Our biggest problem is that most of officers come from outside, so we have undertaken a lot of effort. I have personally sponsored, just day before yesterday, 45 people from my state for IS coaching classes. Whether they become IS officers or not, they will become people who will play a bigger role in the administration. I think also ensuring that our people get language training, whether they get placed in Japan or Singapore or Germany. I think it's very important to make sure that our people get quality jobs outside. So again, there is one region where I think I have contributed a lot, and I think more can be done. If we can get 5,000 people to send 1 lakh rupees home, if they're making good salaries outside, our local economy will boom. You see, the economy of Kerala is not by Malayalis only in Kerala. It is from people working in Muscat, Dubai, Oman, Kuwait, and they send money back. Punjab, same thing. The local economy is not as important as people who are in Canada, abroad, sending money back. Tamil Nadu is the same thing. So I think it's very important to create a population where people get not only employed within the Northeast in India but abroad. So that is one place where we are. I've tried my best, and I think I've been moderately successful. Second and third thing is music and sports. I think we have so many talented musicians. If we can create a policy where we can support our musicians and our sports people, which I'm trying to do in Tripura now, but I would like to do it across Northeast, where you get paid to sing and where you get paid to play your sport. You know what our R.D. Burman or Solvi De Burma has done for Tripura? No politician has done. What a Baichu Bhutia has done, or a Virat Kohli or Sachin Tendulkar has done for India, I don't think any politician has done. So it is very important in the next few years for us to produce world-class sports people so that we get a sense of pride. China became a global superpower not only on business but by doing so well in Olympics. So I think sports, again, is one way we can promote. And finally, look at this festival which is happening here. I think our food is one of the best foods ever. And I think next month also I will speak, and if we can have a festival where people from Karnataka can come and taste our food, soft power is very important. Soft power like Bollywood has made India big, not necessarily Vishwaguru. I think American culture, their Hollywood, their food, their music was a soft power which influenced the whole world. So our soft power is in sports, our food, our culture, our dances, and if we can, our costumes, if we can promote soft power outside Northeast, I think we will get a lot more traction and employment as well. So I think these are the areas that we have been successful, but I don't think we should rest in our laurels. We are still young, more has to be done, but it should be done after consultation with all the youngsters.
I'd just like to add one thing, very, very important thing that Mr. Pradyut probably out of his modesty is not taking credit for is the formation of the party Tripura. I think that it has been a game changer in the state of Tripura. It has provided a much needed platform for the tribal voices of Tripura. And also, has cemented his position as a very upcoming, vibrant, dynamic leader of the Northeast. So I think that he's very modest, he's not taking credit for it, but I think credit should go where it is due.
Yes. And as we are again coming back to little politics, I want to ask Pradyut, you have been outspoken about the challenges posed by the current regime in Bangladesh and urge India to be more cautious in its engagement. From your perspective, does Bangladesh today represent a significant geographical or cultural threat, or is it more a question of vigilance or awareness? What do you think?
No, I don't want to take revenge, but I think that for us Northeastern, Goa is too far and we need a beach, right? And Cox's Bazar is just close by. And Bangladesh is an unfriendly, ungrateful country. India gave birth to Bangladesh in 1971. But if you see by 1975, they had killed the very founding father who fought for the independence. Today, if you see what Bangladesh, India will never desecrate the statue of Gandhi. They desecrated the statue of Mujibur Rahman. Bangladesh also has eyes on Northeast. If you see the map which Muhammad Yunus is showing and he's talking about chicken's neck, their design about Northeast is not good. Illegal migration takes place every day. For every 10 person caught, 100 crossover. So vote bank politics has finished us in Northeast. Now, when Muhammad Yunus talks about chicken's neck, he is trying to say that Northeast is landlocked. No, we are not landlocked. Chittagong Hill Tracts, Cox's Bazar used to be a part of Northeast. Chakmas, Tiprasas, Garos, Manipuris, Kukis, Maitais, all live, even today, Khasis, Jaintiyas live in a significant part of Bangladesh. What did they do after where they threw out Sheikh Hasina? They went and burnt a library made by Maharaja Bir Chandra. What was Maharaja Bir Chandra's mistake? They went and they broke the statue of Tirat Singh. What did Tirat Singh do to Bangladeshi for you to break it? Their attitude towards us is that we are inferior people. And I think when Muhammad Yunus says we are landlocked, no, we are not. Only 45 kilometers from the border of Sabroom in Tripura lies Cox's Bazar. And if we can get the Chittagong Hill Tract and the Cox's Bazar port, we are no longer landlocked, and what we are getting today for 10 rupees, we will get it for 2 rupees. And what we are selling today for 2 rupees, we can sell it for 200 rupees. Because from there you have clear access to Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, Australia, Thailand, and I think this should be the policy of India to teach Bangladesh a lesson. Even if it doesn't happen, Bangladesh today has 3 Pakistani generals positioned in Bangladesh as of today. What do you think are Pakistani generals doing in Bangladesh? They are actually ISI setting up the base there. If our youth are not addressed, our problems are not addressed, they will again open up camps, destabilize Northeast India, create insurgency, create problems for us, and we do not want that to happen in Northeast. So when I speak out against Bangladesh, I am not speaking out against a community or a religion. I am saying, why isn't India fighting against a country which hates us? Now, a small point, I know I don't want to speak too much. In India, we target Indian Muslims. But when Bangladesh plays cricket with us, we are inviting them and putting them up at Taj Hotel. The problem is Bangladesh, right? So why is Indian government not taking a stronger stance against Bangladesh? You target Indian Muslims, but you don't allow illegal migrants to come in from Bangladesh to India. So you're also playing vote bank politics. And I want my Northeast to be safe, secure. And our population is very less. We cannot afford more illegal people to come into Northeast and occupy our land. We, the indigenous people, have only land, not Tripura. Whether it is the Khasis, Garos, Arunachalis, Mizos, Nagas, land is very important to us. Assamese, Bodos, Dimasas, 6th schedule, our land is very important to us. If our land is going to be taken away because vote bank politics will determine that, then I'm sorry, I do not accept it, and we will always fight with anyone who wants to threaten our existence and our survival and take away our land. We will never compromise on that, even if it means me being unpopular with the government of India. Whether it is Congress or BJP, that is not important. Our people are more important.
Thank you so much. Environment is getting a little heavy now, so we will start another round of questions. It's called rapid fire. Okay, so
Gift hamper is there?
No, Karan Johar is not here. So sorry, sir. So you have to answer in one word or in one sentence. Sure.
No. Start with him, then I'll.
Question for both of you.
But you need to know to answer.
10 seconds extra.
James. He is younger to me.
Okay, if you could describe the Northeast in one word, वो क्या होगा? Northeast को अगर describe करना है.
One Northeast, any? One?
One. Wow, one is the correct one. And what about
O-N-E, one Northeast.
great? So we are describing ourselves O and
One misconception about Northeast you wish people would drop today.
There's so many of them. This is not a question for a rapid fire actually, because there's so many of them, and it's just that the Northeast is, just embroiled in so much of conflict that it's an unsafe place. I think that is a very, very popular misconception. The Northeast is not. We are all living in peace, and of course there are small pockets of those kind of problems, which is everywhere in the country.
So I can't answer in one word, but a lot of people say that Northeast, if there's something happening in Kashmir, we don't stop going to Delhi, right? If something is happening in, let's say, Pahalgam, we go to Simla, we go to Punjab, we go to Rajasthan. So there's no such thing as North India problem. So now, a lot of people think that if there is something happening in Manipur, Northeast is unsafe. It isn't. Second thing, I wish people don't ask us stupid question like, if I go to Northeast, am I safe? Will a tiger cross the road in Police Bazaar? Right? So there are many, and one last thing, they should not say that I want to come to Northeast, Bhutan is so beautiful. Bhutan is not a part of Northeast, it's a separate country. I think that misconception I would like.
थोड़ा तो मतलब homework करना चाहिए.
होमवर्क बहुत करना चाहिए, वरना फेल हो जाओ.
Okay, so one thing the rest of India could learn from the Northeast.
How to smile.
Yes, definitely.
And fashion.
Everybody should learn from us, right? You all are so fashionable. मतलब सुबह जब मैं आई खुद को बहुत डल दिख रहा था क्योंकि आप लोग बहुत कलरफुल बन गए हैं. तो yes, fashion is
Actually, I
something.
was saying her, see them, how they are getting ready. I was feeling like some camp.
How to be beautiful. I think we have one of the best skins, the best hair. Just our people are so beautiful.
One thing that Northeast people could learn from rest of the India.
Diplomacy. How to be diplomatic. We are too honest sometimes.
I think honesty. I would like to say learn about honesty because I think
Rest of India?
no, that people can learn
From the rest of it? No.
Oh, from the rest of India. Oh, I'm so sorry. I got it the other way around. My apologies. Yes. Then, I think so, yeah. Diplomacy. My apologies for getting it wrong.
See how honest you are. So one leader or thinker who inspire you the most? From your region or from anywhere from the world?
If you say please Sangma, I look like you're talking about that. If I say Maharaja Veer Bikram, so I'll take a guy from another continent. I think Nelson Mandela is someone I really look up to.
Can I also? Of course, as you rightly said, yes. For me, my father, yes, of course. But also from another continent, probably Abraham Lincoln for abolishing slavery in the US.
One cultural tradition from your state you wish every Indian should experience.
These are such difficult questions you're asking for rapid fires. These require actually a lot of thought.
This even I'm dumbfounded, yeah. One, what was the question again? Can you repeat the question? Can you repeat the question?
One cultural thing from your state you wish every Indian should experience it.
I think the celebration of Spring or celebration of all religious festivals. We may be Christians, we may be Buddhists, we may be Hindus, but we all come together to celebrate our traditional culture and whether it is Hojagiri, whether it is the Laibuma, what do you call Mamita dance, whether it is the Garya Puja. We may have different religion, but when it comes to our culture, we don't think about our religion. We come as entities, as tea prasas, and we celebrate. We don't. Whether it is Christmas, whether it is pujas, we all come together, and Buddha Purnima, we come together and celebrate. Bihu, Bizu, Buisu, we celebrate it together. I think that is one thing. I think we are truly secular.
For me, I think when we talk of Northeast, yes, undoubtedly Naga food is, yes, by my standards, is the best. But I think Meghalaya is also not very far behind. So one thing that I would love from people from outside coming to our state would be to try out the diversity and the kind of rich flavor, the texture of our food from Meghalaya. That is one thing I would love.
Kappa and Neyong.
Yeah, those are just two things you mentioned.
Yeah. And next question. If you had to pick one symbol of unity for Northeast, वो क्या होगा? अगर एक सिंबल से आपको नॉर्थ-ईस्ट को समझाना है unity in diversity,
Nature. Our greenery, our mountains, our nature. I think that is one way. We are all children of God, children of nature. I think we are the happiest when we are with nature. So I think that is one, and we worship nature as well. I think that is one way of showing symbol of Northeast.
I think that for me, nature came to my mind instantly, even before he spoke it out. So for me as well, nature, because I think that people in Northeast, I'm again very proud of the fact that we have this wonderful, relationship with nature for eons, for centuries, and it still continues. The kind of way that people in Northeast respect nature, and yeah, for me, one symbol that unites us.
great.
Okay. One infrastructural project or policy you think that could transform entire region?
I think green energy. Green energy, because I don't want big companies to come and destroy our land, opening, Daniel will say, all exploitation of our land. So I think green energy is the way the whole world is working, and we should not allow our land, our resources to be exploited, because what may seem good today may be bad for our next generation tomorrow. So we should think about green energy so we preserve the way of life that we have.
For me, it would be trade, border trade. Trading with our international neighbors, whoever is there, because I think for us, yes, we have a very small chicken neck, which is a big disadvantage for our region. But if we were to open up trade to our neighboring countries in a better, more organized sense, I'm not saying it's not happening right now, it is happening. But I think that it would give a huge fillip, a huge boost to our local entrepreneurs, farmers, the small-scale industries which are there. That would really transform the rural and, of course, the urban economy of the Northeast.
Very nice, sir.
So, if you have to tell the rest of India about Northeast, one line में क्या होगा आपके हिसाब से? एक लाइन में अगर आपको Northeast को describe करना है तो
Don't fight Northeast, embrace us. I do the same thing when I go to a new place. I don't fight them, I don't resist them. I just accept what they are. So don't come and fight our way of life. Embrace us. We are the most hospitable people in the world. At least I think so. So come and respect us and embrace us, and you will have the most wonderful time in your journey to the region.
Said one word for the Northeast. Yeah, I think Maharaja, Pradyut has left no words. He's sort of like encompassed everything. But yeah, I think I will just go with what Pradyut just mentioned. Yeah.
the questions लिख को देते क्या?
जी लीक हुआ तो क्वेश्चन पेपर जैसा क्वेश्चन
यहाँ cheating चल रहा है, बहुत cheating चल
कुछ
रहा
तो
है.
है मतलब
लीक हुआ है, लीक तो हुआ है.
What's the most underrated strength of Northeast?
Sorry?
What's the most underrated strength of Northeasterns that India has not tapped into it?
Our handicraft, I think almost our handicraft is probably one of the finest, but still our people, our potential has not been, our use of bamboo, our use of handicraft, craftsmanship. I don't think the way you see we wear our Jensam or Dakmanda or India or Risa, our traditional thanek. I don't think the Naga shawl, I don't think our artsmanship, our handicraft has been actually tapped properly. In fact, many people from outside have appreciated us more, but we have not been able to actually potentially show it to the rest of India.
I think it's a very good question because for long we sometimes feel that we've been the only resources that Northeast can offer are rich natural resources. So we've been exploited in terms of all the natural resources being taken out, and that is fueling industry in the rest of the country. But I think that what Mr. Pradyut mentioned, in terms of soft power, I think that's one of the most under-tapped natural resource that we have in the Northeast. Be it in terms of our sportspersons, soft power, which made China what it is today by winning the Olympics, as Mr. Pradyut mentioned. So this is what I think needs to be tapped. Our boys and our girls have so much potential in terms of the sheer physicality that we carry along with us, that we would be able to bring tons and tons of medals and make India proud.
So we are closing this now. So any closing message to our youngsters and to the rest of India? कुछ अगर बोलना चाहे
North Eastern community living in Bangalore and also for Karnataka people.
मैं बस ये कहना चाहूँगा मेघा जी कि we are very very indebted to the people of Karnataka for being such lovely hosts. Bangalore is like a second home for me. My daughter lives and studies here in Bangalore, and I cannot even begin, don't know where to start. Talk about the way that the people of Karnataka have been very warm and hospitable to me and my family who live here. So thank you so much to the lovely people of Karnataka, especially Bangalore, the Garden City. मैं और ये कहना चाहूँगा कि आज मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि हमारे यहाँ पे जो my brothers and my sisters from every community. I think that it's so wonderful to see this wonderful mix of my brothers and sisters from the Northeast, and I'm very thankful to the organizers for taking this initiative. This is very important that we have such kind of programs very often for us to interact, to know each other. Unity and diversity will only come when we know each other, when we know who to reach out to, and I'm very thankful to the organizers for taking this initiative. And of course, to everyone who's participating here, you guys are the torchbearers. You guys are the youth, the next generation that we as old leaders look forward to, and we have a lot of faith. We have a lot of confidence in all of you. I was talking to some of the students doing bachelors in computer applications, someone doing chartered accountant courses. Accounting for me is a nightmare. I can't even think and fathom how our northeastern boys and girls are now going into subjects like mathematics, accounting, computer applications, probably AI for So you guys are torchbearers, and your parents back home, they look up to you. Make them proud, make our region proud, and we love all of you. Thank you.
Really good message, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
No, he's already said everything. There is one thing I want to tell about Karnataka. You have a great, rich history. Your history did not start in 1947. You are a great history, and you are older than what we know India is today. You have a great history. Be proud of the history. Don't let anyone tell you. Me as a student of history, I know about your kingdoms, your history, the way of life, and you are a civilization on your own. And I think it is very important for the people of Karnataka to acknowledge that. And that is what I want to tell you. Your future is defined by your past and how great you were. And you will continue to be great if you remember how you lived and what your ancestors did. So that is my one thing to the people of Karnataka. I am very indebted to Karnataka. Bangalore especially, Garden City. I have a lot of friends here, friends from Bangalore, friends in Mangalore and Coorg. Great food there again. Lovely people, and you have been so kind to so many of our people from the Northeast, and I thank you for that. My message to the students here is, the youngsters here, is that this is about you now. My parents made a mistake, so I suffered. My grandparents, I'm not talking personally, but I'm talking collectively, we made mistakes somewhere, so the next generation suffered. And I know it because we suffered. I don't want to, my time is over. My best years are behind me. But I don't want my next generation to suffer. And so, when I come here and I see this entire hall filled, different communities, we started this one Northeast, trying to bring in unity. There are people who are supporting us, many people supporting us, but there are some people, especially of the older generation, who says, "Hobe na, hoga nahi, possible nahi." They are skeptical people. But my power does not come from intellectuals who are miserable. Our power comes from you young people who may not have money in your pocket, but yet you have hope in your eyes. and this is no longer about us. So my message to all my youngsters, regardless of which community, which tribe, which religion you come from, this is now about your fight, this is about your future, and I am sure that if we can focus, concentrate, and identify our similarities and not look at our differences, the next 10 years you are going to change not only Northeast India, you are going to change India for the better. So that is my message to everyone here. I love all of you all.
Thank you, sir.
And to say I love you is so simple, it does not cost you money, but it brings us together. And I think that is very important. God bless.
Thank you both on behalf of Karnataka and all the Northeasterns here living in Bengaluru. And I would like to say, Belano Hambai.
Kumai Shun, Vitla, Gajotham, Juthai, I mean there are many other words, but I think God bless you and God bless Karnataka as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.